All right. As I've been doing the last couple games for you guys, we've been looking at the 2022 teams that the Eagles are going to be playing. We did Lions, Vikings, Washington. We did the Jags yesterday. Today we're going to do the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to get into that here in a minute. Welcome aboard National Football Show. It's your boy Big Silz. Appreciate everybody stepping in. We are officially 6 days out. 6 days out from training camp. You got teams reporting with rookies and free agents today. Yesterday, there were teams. Football's here, my friends. Football is here. And now the storylines begin. And now the expectation conversation starts. Now rent is due. September's right around the corner. August exhibition games. What will the Eagles do with those? Will they just let those great reps and quality reps go by the wayside and think that controlled scrimmages during the practices are going to be all they need to prepare for an upcoming NFL season? Which really, if you look at the start of their season, Lions improved, Vikings improved, Commanders improved, Jags improved, Cardinals improved. The Cowboys, not so much, but you haven't touched them in the last 3 years. So, all that being said, the start of the season, there's two parts of the season here for the Eagles, okay? These first couple games, these first 6 games, you're bye, and then you come out and you start playing some good football teams too, again, in the middle of the year. But we're going to know all we need to know going into that bye. By the way, bottom of the hour, our friend Seth Joyner will join us, and we're so proud to have him part with Mike Missinelli and all the guys, D Gunn and everyone. It's going to be part of our post-game show following every single Eagle game. It's going to be awesome, man. We're going to have the absolute best coverage of Philadelphia Eagle football right here on JAKIB Sports. And Seth Joyner is going to join us. That'll be at the bottom of the hour. We will get Seth's opinion. And we appreciate Seth now being part of our family. So I can't wait to have him jump on with us. That'll be at the bottom of this hour here. All right. As I've been doing the last couple games for you guys, we've been looking at the 2022 teams that the Eagles are going to be playing. We did Lions, Vikings, Washington. We did the Jags yesterday. Today, we're going to do the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to get into that here in a minute. But I want to ask you guys something, and I want to start the show off with this. Do you guys know how many attempts Jalen Hurts had last year per game? And by the way, it's not just so much Jalen, it's the offense. How many passing attempts do you think that this football team had last year? Now, remember something. Why I'm going here? Well, if you're going to improve all these numbers across the board like everyone is suggesting they're going to do, 2,000 wide receiving yard seasons coming up with these two guys, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You think you got a 900-yard reception tight end? How many more attempts do you think he's going to have to throw to improve the numbers? 35. GG Meta says 35. 30 a game, says Kyle. Yeah, per game. How many attempts do you think the Philadelphia Eagles had per pass last year per game? What do you think the average was for a 17-game NFL season? What do you think it was? Quote Jody Mack, the Eagles don't play a team that won a playoff game last year this year. True. Absolutely true. It's the 31st worst schedule or easiest schedule in the NFL. 32 average. Jesse is more right. Last year, the Philadelphia Eagles averaged 28.8 attempts. while completing 17.6. And this was in a result of Jalen throwing for 3,100 yards and 16 touchdowns, I believe. Let me put that in perspective for you. Josh Allen threw the ball 38 times a game, had 24 completions a game. And if you look at his total, he basically had more completions last year, Josh Allen, than what Jalen Hurts almost had in attempts. I think Jalen was 434. I think Josh was around 404 in completions. Think about that. Jalen Hurts threw the ball for 434 times last year. Josh Allen completed 404 last year. How much more are you expecting him to throw the ball while sacrificing the running of the football and what your true strength is? Are you really going to go away from that formula? By the way, I can't wait to ask Seth Joyner that. The kid averaged 28 attempts. They won 9 ball games with that. You're going to take the attempts per game when it comes to rushing attempts away from the strength and go more towards the weakness so you can improve your passing game. Tell me how many more attempts you think he had. By the way, 5 attempts a game is not going to get that guy to 4,000 passing yards. You've got to be around 38 to 40 attempts per game. Are you really going to do that with a mentality knowing this? You started the season out 2-5 last year with that mentality. Okay? No, I went 15 ball games, Jess, because he only played 15 ball games. Kyle thinks that the offense is going to take away from running the ball, and you're going to start throwing between 35 and 40 attempts. And you think that's going to be a winning formula? What do you mean gross average? He had 434 attempts, Randall. 28 attempts a game. I don't give a shit what you call gross. Maybe it is gross because it's got to be some of the least amount of attempt passes for a football team that had a winning record last year. How many more attempts do you really think that they're going to put into the hands of Jalen Hurts? Will you guys keep telling me about all these numbers? 1,000 yards here, 1,000 yards here, 1,000 yards here, 4,400 passing yards. How many more attempts? This guy didn't even average 30 attempts. 36 attempts. So you're going to up it almost 10 more attempts per game. 40, says Gigi. Mike is right. He's going to need about 650 attempts to keep his job. And how about this? To get a fair assessment on who he is. How can you get a fair assessment on Jalen Hurts with 28 attempts a game? It's got to be one of the lowest numbers in the league. Like I said, Josh Allen almost had as many completions as he had attempts. By the way, I'm not saying last year's formula is wrong to use. I'm saying last year's formula, you might want to stick to that first before you start throwing the ball 40 times a game. Because this guy right here hasn't done it. But you spent $100 million and you got a first rounder over there. Guys, which is it? Are you building the team for someone else? Or do you truly think they're going to start off the season throwing the ball 40 times like they did last year? Okay, I mean, I don't see them going, hey, Jalen, throw the ball 40 times, 38 times. No. So Hurts isn't the answer. You sound like my wife, Randall. I'm not talking about him not being the answer. I'm talking about coaching. Coaching. This is a coaching opinion. How is Sirianni and the OC going to handle this? to get all these numbers. This is really anything to do with Jalen. Not talking about Jalen Hurts here. How are you fundamentally going to, as a unit, up that to 40 attempts a game? How are you going to do that? In a pass-happy league, how are you going to take advantage with that? Are you really going to come out of the gate like that? What is the proper game plan? What is the identity? What if he gets 3 to 5 more receptions with the same amount of attempts? Boy, if he does that, he'll have 75 completion percentage and lead the NFL, which I do not believe that's going to be the case. Your elite quarterbacks in the game. Here, let's do this. This is for craps and giggles here, okay? Most attempts in the NFL quarterback in 2021. Let's take a look at. Okay, let's take a look at this here. Most passing attempts. Most passing attempts, NFL quarterback 2021 season.
Tom Brady.
Let's see here. The most passing attempts. Tom Brady last year threw for 719 attempts. 719. Holy cow. Look at these numbers, man. My point is, offensively, what's going to be the game plan? Oh, excuse me. Pass attempts. Brady had, let's see, going down here to okay, here it is. Brady actually had 800 attempts. Mahomes had 780 attempts. Stafford, 741. Josh Allen, 708. Justin Herbert, 672. Dak, 639. Mac Jones, 559, and he's 14th. Jalen Hurts was 21st in pass attempts, with 475. Tyler Heineke threw the ball more. So, Carson Wentz threw the ball 516 times. How many attempts do you think he's going to throw this year? And do you feel comfortable with him throwing the ball? 500? 600? I mean, we're calling him elite, or some of you are. What's going to be a number for the Eagles to go out this year and by the end of the year to get a fair assessment of who he is? I'm not going to be able to get a fair assessment on who this guy is with 400 attempts. I mean, not when you have guys with 400 completions. You're not going to be able to have a fair assessment of the offense either. You got to get him around 600 attempts. 2 questions, Silz, for Seth. How many pass attempts should he have? And your list, who's he better than? I don't know what that means. You're talking about good passing quarterback, Silz, not Jalen's game. Well, wait a minute. You're spending money, $100 million, and then you're putting a first rounder out. I mean, intangible. You've got assets out there right now. Lamar was hurt last year, so his stats wouldn't compare, unfortunately. If we score early in look, here's where I'm going to go with you. I don't think you should start the season throwing the football a billion times. I think you should stick to what made you guys and just build off it and gradually add it. That's why when you guys are saying 1,000-yard seasons here, It's not going to look like that. You're going to be very disappointed, in my opinion, out of the gate. Why in the world would I want to do something my team is not good at and proved it last year when you're 2-5? You better get out of the gate the same way you finished the season last year. You need to run the ball. Hey, we had a ton of conversations this year about passing. Well, let's get back to the thing that they do best. They got to run the ball. If you're going to win here, how many wins do you think that Eagle team, potentially, just a couple of you, how many wins do you think this football team is capable of having this year? And you bet I'm going to bring this up with Seth. Okay, and I can't wait to hear what he says. Okay, 13 wins. Just a couple of you. How many wins are you projecting this year for this football team? 8 to 9, 10. I think more than 8 to 9. I think it's 10 to 11 in there. Okay? 10-7, says Randall. 11-13, Mike. Okay, guys, you're not going to win 12 games throwing the ball 640 times. Get that out of your mind. You are not. If you throw the ball 650 times, you'll be 7-10. Remember I said that. 7-10 if you throw that ball more than 600 times this year. You guys are basing those 11, 12, 13-win regular seasons. You know what you guys are basing it off of? The run game, not the passing game. You have no context to throw that out to that coach, that football team, that huddle is capable of winning 13 games throwing the ball. You have no context in that. You have no history in that. You have history in running the ball. Okay? I started thinking about this. Well, wait a minute. Does everybody just assume that all of a sudden in game one, Jalen Hurts is going to throw the ball 45 times and they're all of a sudden going to recreate the wheel here? And they're going to get away from who they really are, dominating people at the line of scrimmage? If you take that asset away from the Eagles, they're not a good team. You are 27th in passing. That number probably gets to 16 in passing. I wouldn't stray too far away from either being 1 through 3 when it comes to being one of the top running attacks in the NFL. You start dipping out of that, you're going to start sacrificing wins. You're not capable of doing what Josh Allen and Brady and Herbert and these other guys are able to do. They throw the ball 600 times because sometimes they get behind in the scoreboard, but they could throw their team out of trouble. That team can't. That team can't. So you may be a little disappointed out of the gate with the style of offense that football team's going to have to put out there because it may be boring ball. I don't want to see against the Lions 42 attempts and 17 rushes. And I don't want to see this. 9 of those 17 rushes is from Jalen. Joseph says I'm a hater because I'm asking you to stick to what you do so you can win games. You're an idiot, dude. If I'm a hater, you're an idiot. I'm not even talking about Jalen Hurts here. I'm talking about the way they're going to coach his ass. Build an identity for the offense like the coaching staff did last year. The coaches and that O-line put that team in the postseason. And how is that hating? That's exactly the 2021 Philadelphia Eagles season in a nutshell. You put the team in the hands of the O-line. The coaches saw you couldn't throw the ball, so you ran it. And now you want to get away from that? Good luck to you. You'll never win 10 games throwing the rock. You're going to win ball games by sticking to who you are and then expanding the passing game. expanding it, growing it. What's Nick Sirianni say, Xander? Put the little seedlings in, watch it grow. Give Jalen a chance. Throwing 45 times will end his career. Sprinkling those attempts up from 28 to 32 to 34, maybe a 40 game. That's how you develop him. If you think you're going to throw that kid out there because you got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and you're going to throw the ball 45 times, that's poor coaching, and I would blame Nick Sirianni more than I would blame Jalen Hurts. That's poor coaching. That's not fundamentally using the assets that you have. Steven goes, if Hurts throws the ball 42 times, there's 4 picks. Correct. But if they run the ball 42 times, the Eagles are going to run you off the scoreboard. AT says this, we don't need to throw. We have an elite game and a run game. Absolutely, AT. We can really on the run, which will open up the and play action. Exactly, AT. It's a great take. That's what I want to see, AT. Coaching, remember what I said? The 3 things are going to be surrounding the Philadelphia Eagles season 2022. You know what it's going to be? Friends, head coach, DC, quarterback. Coach is involved in this conversation as well. Sirianni's got out to a nice start. Guess what? There's a start, a middle, and an end in a race. Okay? And the NFL's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Where are you in that process? 34 attempts is very balanced. If he wasn't having fun, I'd just leave, but love Silz. GG, thank you, brother. We're going to run the ball, but that's not going to be as much as it was a year ago. Yeah, but Dominic, let me throw this at you here. Dominic, if you don't run the ball as much, but you get effectiveness out of it at 4.5 or 4.7 a carry, okay? You don't have to put up the 250 yards rushing. You just got to keep guys honest, and you've got to keep them at least in fear of the run. Don't make yourselves one-dimensional again. Don't do that. You're trying to create balance. You know, most teams, you know, you guys always crap on the Minnesota Vikings. You know the one thing that they have that the Eagles don't have? Balance. They can throw it and run it. There's tremendous balance. Least amount of picks last year. I mean, they have balance in their offense. DeAndre Swift with the Lions, they're going to create some balance in that game 1. Swift is going to be a pass-catching demon this year in the NFL. I think he's going to have 80 catches. That may lead all running backs in the NFL. And I think he's a 1,400-yard back. It's not good. You're going to see a lot of balanced guys. Silz, they think because we have a solid wide receiving core that makes Hurts elite. Of course they do, because those guys are really good, talented guys, and they're assuming that's going to elevate his game. You're assuming that. He's got to prove that. But the coaches also have to help him. Okay? How many times do you see coaches? I'll tell you what, I'll give you with Andy Reid. Andy Reid is horrible. 2 minutes into the half and 2 minutes at the end of game. That guy's 2-minute game plan is not very good. His handling of timeouts, I don't even know if he cares about them. His clock management has been an issue his entire coaching career. Okay? So it's coaches can put you in crappy situations. Gigi, it's not so much the coaching has to be smart is where guys, just don't aim it at Jalen here. I'm not aiming it at Jalen. Okay? I'm not aiming this at him. I'm aiming this more at the staff and how they're going to start the season in those first 6 games heading into the bye week in week 7. How are you going to fundamentally, it's going to be my first question when I talk to Seth, okay, at the bottom of the hour here. Okay, I mean, are you really fundamentally going to get away from what you did last year to turn the team around and to go back to what you did at the beginning of the year because you had fool's gold against the Atlanta Falcons? The Falcons game was the worst thing that could have happened to the Eagle passing game because they started believing in it. And by the way, let me throw this at you too. You know, I was told that Nick Sirianni was a so-called play calling expert. He hands it off to someone else and, you know, okay. It's kind of what I thought about with Mike McCarthy. So Mike McCarthy's not the play caller in Dallas. He was the play caller for Brett Favre and for Aaron Rodgers. But you feel more comfortable in Dallas with Kellen Moore because Dak does? I would have changed that right up if I was the head coach. I said, I'm the play caller. Are you crazy? I coach Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Who are you, Kellen Moore? But see, Jerry runs that deal. And they wanted to keep Kellen Moore as the play caller because Dak liked him? Whatever. What has Kellen Moore done to the offense? Kellen Moore and that offense, the last 2 years, in my opinion, I don't know. Well, they led the NFL in offense last year. Yeah, and you got bounced in the opening round. You said Hurts needs to throw for 4,200 yards. I'm not talking about Hurts right now, guy. Okay? I'm not talking about that. All right. I'm going to take a timeout before we get Seth join around with us here. Guys, please hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.